believe that nobody should be deported at all, and we try and do our best to protect in different ways, different strategies, and we have different programs. So there's an accompaniment program, there's a legal clinic, and Dina, who is back there holding the camera, you can talk to her, she's part of that too. But broadly speaking, that's the politics of sanctuary, where we think that if we, as a community, don't always just rely on the law, don't always just rely on officials, they're important, but if we can protect each other, if we can build sanctuaries in every block, in every business, in every home, then we can protect each other. And that's the politics of sanctuary that we try and spread. There's one part of it, which is Deborah's case, and that's why we're here, which is physical sanctuary. And if you know what that is, excuse me, I'll just explain a few words about it. What it means is that people can opt to go inside a church and take refuge there because ICE has an internal memo, has an internal policy that says they will not, and they haven't so far, entered a church in order to grab someone and hunt them down. And Deborah courageously decided to take that option and go inside a church instead of being hunted down by ICE and separated from her kids. And that's where she is. But you know, we need to be clear that she might feel safer away from ICE, but it's still a form of confinement. She is in a kind of friendly prison. She's not free. If she leaves, she will subject herself to the hunters. Right? And so our goal is to keep her safe, to keep her protected, but more than anything, to get her to leave, to be free, to make ICE allow her to leave and have a stay of removal. That's the goal. That should be all of our goal. That should be our goal here. It should be your goal, because as long as Deborah is not free, none of us is free. Nobody is free. Deborah and all the other people were being hunted down, right? So this should be the goal of Westchester as well. Westchester Rising for all their residents here who are in danger, because they are residents here, but they are in danger. Okay. Now, also, you know, maybe it should be understood that this is not something that's new, and by not new, I don't mean 2 years, 6 years. This has been happening for 6 years, 8 years during the Obama administration, much more quietly, but the numbers were there. But it's been going on for hundreds of years. It's part of the core contradiction of this country. It's part of the racial politics of this country. It's part of the founding of this country as well, and we shouldn't shy away from confronting that, because when we do, we forget and we repeat. My mother and I were separated before I knew her as mother. These are the words of Frederick Douglass 160 years ago. And then he says, in that part of Maryland that I fled, that was a common custom. So this is not new. This is part of how white supremacy, how racism is operated as a state force in this country. Okay? And we don't understand Deborah's case and the cases all around us until we confront that racism, and that's what I want to emphasize, because that, in a sense, is America's monster. And today the monster has a new name, and the name is ICE, but it's been with us. And so it's not just a practical proposition to abolish ICE because it's a rogue paramilitary force that's not accountable. It's also a moral duty that we have to abolish ICE, because ICE is also a racist rogue paramilitary force. So it's incumbent upon all of us to take it up and say, abolish ICE without fear. It's been a call that 2 months ago you would not have heard from a single elected official, and now people in Congress are saying abolish ICE. So it can be done. It has been done. ICE did not exist before 2000 and whatever, after 9/11 it was founded. So it can be dismantled too. And that should be the abolitionist project that we all should engage in, because it's not just about ICE, it's about the rights of citizens too. And abolitionism is part of a larger project of freedom that includes getting rid of all the forms of state violence and oppression that ties in the way that black people and brown people end up in jail, whether they're citizens or non-citizens. Because again, let's remember, ICE is not just hunting immigrants, it's hunting black and brown immigrants. It's hunting non-white immigrants. And we shouldn't forget that. The majority of people who end up in ICE detention, by far, over 97% are from the Caribbean, Central and South America. Okay. So, with that, I want to say, support Deborah. We do need your support. We need people to keep pushing. We need your elected officials in Westchester to keep pushing ICE. It's ICE's discretion to let Deborah out. They can take that decision. They can take the decision to let Deborah reunite with her family, and it's up to us to push them to do that. It's up to you to push them to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like